Recording.
Alrighty. What am I on today? This is the Triumph Scrambler. I got to ride this yesterday, and I liked the bike so much I came back to ride it again. Not my typical cup of tea bike. I hate this keyless ignition, but it's here. That's just here to lock the steering wheel. So now, need the clutch to start it. Well, what do I like about this bike? Suspension's great. Brakes are good. Transmission it matches the character of the bike. It's not the smoothest transmission ever, but it matches the character of the bike. It's got great torque. It's heavy. It's heavier than my Aprilia, but I just really smitten by this bike. Been thinking about getting something more comfortable and so on and so forth. But yeah, I'm out riding it again to see if I want to buy this thing. So here we're gonna go out for a test ride here. And we're not going anywhere. Easy to find neutral. Clutch is light. Beautiful build quality as you expect from Triumph. Look at this nice metal strap. It just looks so good. Even a metal cap here. Of course, underneath the cap is the actual filler, but very pretty. The one thing I will say about this, considering this bike, you got to ride it because the exhaust being up here, I've noticed is it can't get hot. End up if you move your foot up here like this, the exhaust is manageable at stoplights. So here we go. Very easy bike to ride. Very smooth. And these Triumph test rides are actually a lot of fun. So if they have one in your area, I highly suggest you go check it out. You'll have a ball. Just takes over bumps like nothing. This would be a great bike if you lived in a city. This does not like to be shifted without a clutch. I tried yesterday and it just didn't feel right. But the clutch is so light and smooth, that's not a big deal. Rev matching, downshifting this thing is no problems. Great noise, not too loud. I don't even think I'd have to do pipes on this if this was my own bike. That's how good it is. Seat is very high. I'm on my tippy toes. I have a 30-inch inseam. I ride tall bikes, so that doesn't really bother me too much. But for somebody a little bit shorter, you might want to look at one of the other Triumphs. Interestingly enough, if you look here, this fork is a little lower than the right fork. I notice little things like that. Oh yeah, just taking over the bumps, no problem. Mirrors are great, you can see out of them. We're gonna get a little highway ride with this group, he said. I'm looking forward to that because the one thing is that I end up always riding super bikes simply because of the fairings and the wind protection and so on and so forth. I'm gonna see if I can actually get a pretty nice big windscreen for this. See, that's third gear. It just pulls beautifully. Brakes are great. A little dive. You sort that out with some adjustment here on the suspension. It's fully adjustable. Again, I came back to ride the same bike because I liked it so much and I thought I'd do a video on it. If you're sitting in one of these. I've ridden a similar bike to this, the Ducati Desert Sled. And I loved it. It's lighter than this bike, but I like this one more. It's a little shorter. Now this is the XE. I'm sorry, XC. There's an XE, which is more designed for off-road, which probably be a little too tall for me. I'd probably drive me nuts. This is just right. And again, the way it handles these bumps, like it's nothing. So I could definitely see myself taking some nice fast trails on this. And again, I'm just going to hit every bump I can, because this thing can do it. Very easy to find neutral. Love that. And again, squeezing these brakes, it's interesting. These have the M50s from Brembo. It's got the master cylinder from Brembo. I got to tell you, it looks exactly like my setup on my RSV4 Aprilia. But the nice thing is they put a softer pad in there. It just doesn't bite as hard, which is a little bit more enjoyable for a bike like this. You still have the stopping power for sure, but definitely not as tight as the Aprilia or the initial bite, which is absolutely great, because this thing's got quite a bit of suspension travel. As you can see, the front's kind of soft. The rear feels great, though. Whatever Triumph did in the rear, they nailed it. The seat, I've noticed yesterday, not so much right now. I'm having any problem. The seat, even though it looks nice, flat, and comfortable, it's interesting. It's not that comfortable. So if I was to purchase this bike, I would ride it with the stock seat for a while, but I feel it's like something I would have to address. Also, the wind buffeting is pretty bad being a naked. I'd like to see what kind of screens I can get for this. I don't care if it's ugly or not. I'd rather be able to enjoy the bike at highway speeds than anything else. Here it is. The exhaust is getting hot. You put your foot up like this and gets it away from there, and that's no big deal. First gear's got this nice dunk without feel like it's like you jamming it between gears like some bikes. You push in first. Clutch is just easy to modulate. Such a joy to ride. Now, yesterday's bike, I believe it's the same bike. It's the same bike. What's this guy doing? Anyway, yesterday's bike, it's the same bike I rode yesterday. And what I was noticing is 62 miles per gallon as per the gauge is concerned. I don't really trust these gauges too much. But still, over 50 miles to the gallon in a 1200cc motorcycle, I think is really, really good. You don't even have to really rev this thing out. I mean, you just ride the torque. I think this has just under 100 horsepower, but like 81 foot-pounds of torque. So it's got the torque of like a generation past leader bike, super bike. That's awesome. Even though this is heavier than the Aprilia, it doesn't feel like it. The torque just gets this thing moving, and it's just an absolute joy to ride. And it just comes right up. I love it. Gear indicator. Gas gauge. Really great TFT. Yeah, this is a $15,000 bike. It's not inexpensive, but, I end up spending a little bit more money on these bikes than, so I always kind of go for the premium models, simply because, I don't have room for a nice, sweet car, but I have plenty of room to stick bikes in, and I do enjoy riding motorcycles, especially living in Florida and having this amazing weather. So this is a special event here in Daytona called Biketoberfest. It's like Bike Week, except it's a little shorter, a lot less people. I actually prefer this event over Bike Week. Bike Week does have a few things that are fun to go to, but they have races here as well. They just don't have like the Daytona 200 and everything else. But a really fun event, and I get to test ride Triumphs and BMWs when they're here. But I didn't expect to enjoy this bike as much as I did. I really, really like this bike a lot, and it's getting me out of my genre of super bikes. Will I stop riding super bikes? Absolutely not. I love super bikes. But something like this would be great because it's going to be a little more utilitarian in the sense that I can get a saddlebag for it and run out to the store for stuff. I end up taking my car versus any of my super bikes because I got to wear a book bag and everything else. So I could run out, do errands with this. I could do more with this. You know, if it's raining, I'm not going to mind. I could just take this out. And that's the difference, and that's what I'm looking for. More utilitarian motorcycle, so I can basically have more time. I got to tell you, if you live in a city, you got to try one of these things out. I used to ride in Manhattan all the time when I was younger, and I was on a Ducati 748, worst bike to have in Manhattan. But when you're young and you're strong and you're vibrant, and it just doesn't matter what you're on. It's a lot of fun, and it doesn't fatigue you as you get older. Now, sitting at 44 years old, there is a bit of a difference of type of riding I enjoy to do, and the type of riding I can do anymore. You know, yeah, I can ride my super bikes all day. That's not really a problem. But I will say this: you know, having the BMW versus the Aprilia. If I got to take a long ride, I'm going to be on the BMW. It's just a lot more comfortable over a long ride, and it doesn't take as much effort to ride. It doesn't take as much input and weight to be thrown out like the Aprilia. But the Aprilia is it's a bike that rewards a really good rider. Where the BMW, any idiot can jump on and just go for it. And that's one of the beautiful things about the BMW, but one of the things that will catch out on an owner of a bike that's never had a bike that fast and get you in a lot of trouble real quick, where this bike is just, this bike you won't grow out of. Again, it's super comfortable. The balance is amazing. You see how slow I'm going, and it's just no problem with the balance. And it just doesn't skip a beat. Beautiful fueling. Triumph is very good with fueling. And impressed with this. Anyway, so if you're thinking about taking a look at one of these or a Desert Sled, definitely take a look, man. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. I'm impressed. So thanks for tuning in, and I'm just going to enjoy the rest of this ride.